Now on KRIM 2, the governor makes a major announcement ordering schools to offer in-classroom learning. A look at the emergency proclamation and reaction from across the Northwest. Plus,
we'll get more than our fair share of warm weather for this weekend, with several areas hitting 60 degrees. And I'm tracking if we can keep this warmth all the way through St. Patrick's Day.
And it's formerly known as Restaurant Week. This year it's back, but with a new name. So what's changing this year? We'll break down everything you need to know. The news starts now.
And so now is the time for our schools to return this option for in-person learning. And I'm taking action to make sure that students in all grades will have this option.
Governor Inslee will order all K-12 schools to offer in-person learning options beginning next month. He will make it official next week by signing an emergency proclamation. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight on this Friday night. I'm Regina Ahn. Well, tomorrow marks the first anniversary since the state closed all schools, leading to the remote learning model. Governor Inslee recognizes many children are falling behind and is now demanding school districts reopen their doors.
We're doing this because we have experienced a mental health crisis for many of our children, and this will provide them an option that suits their needs of their families.
So here's a timeline. The governor's order will mandate in-classroom learning be available April 5th for kindergarten through 6th graders and April 19th for 7th through 12th graders. It's important to note these will be hybrid models in most cases, with students allowed in school some days and using remote learning in other days. The governor's push for students to return to the classroom comes just one day after he announced big changes in reopening Washington. Now the state is moving into phase 3. Significant changes are coming to the state's reopening plan. The main changes have to do with vaccines, 50% capacity for indoor spaces and sporting events. So let's break down 3 things you need to know tonight. 1, the expansion of Washington vaccines eligibility. On Wednesday, March 17th, Washington will be moving to the next tier of vaccine eligibility. So everyone in Tier 2 will be eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. People in Tier 2 include workers in agriculture, food processing, grocery stores, public transit, firefighters, law enforcement, as well as workers in corrections, jails, and detention centers. It also includes over 16-year-olds who are pregnant or who have a disability that puts them at a higher risk. And 2, 50% capacity for indoor spaces. Phase 3 allows 400 people maximum for indoor and outdoor activities. This applies to restaurants, gyms, and fitness centers, movie theaters, and other businesses. Restaurants can also offer alcohol service until midnight. Then there's 3 sporting event changes. Some outdoor spectators will be allowed at sporting events in phase 3. Outdoor events and facilities with permanent seating can have up to 25% capacity for spectators. This means the Seattle Mariners will be able to welcome fans for the team's opening day. That's on April 1st. For the Spokane Indians, this means they will be able to have about 1,700 fans in attendance when their season opens on May 4th. And the change also allows the same capacity for high school sports and rodeos and similar outdoor spectator events. So fans in the stands is also good news for the Spokane Shock. The Indoor Football League team was aiming to have their first season last year. Those hopes were dashed by the pandemic. So this news means the 2021 season is a go.
Oh man, it means everything. You know, I have played without fans before. It's called practice. And so we're looking forward to having fans. It's a different environment. I brought the team back to play in front of Spokane fans, for it to be Death Valley. It's hard to be Death Valley when there's no fans in the stands. So we're really excited about this.
Now their first scheduled game this year is in May, and we now know they'll have at least 25% capacity at the arena. Well, experts discovered a new variant of COVID-19 in Spokane County. The Department of Health is reporting 1 case right now of the UK strain of the virus. Scientists say it spreads easier and quicker than other variants. They say it may lead to more cases of COVID-19, and they also say to prevent this, people should wear a mask and social distance. Experts warn variants can reinfect people who previously recovered from COVID-19. Breaking news tonight, a frightening scam alert for parents. Spokane police say they have seen an increase in reports of kidnapping scams in the area. So here's what's happening. Parents are receiving a phone call saying that their kids have been kidnapped and they need to send money to get their children back. Police say in some cases the caller knew personal information about the victim and the family. Police say no one was taken and no one was kidnapped. SPD says parents should never send money and call police right away. Spokane voters could weigh in this year on whether to decriminalize certain mushrooms. That is, if one group of activists have their way. Our political reporter Casey Decker explains.
Decriminalize Spokane is a movement to end criminal penalties locally for psilocybin mushrooms. It's our version of the broader national push to make using the psychedelics easier. Several cities have already decriminalized, and recently, voters in the state of Oregon went a step further, making psilocybin outright legal for therapeutic purposes. So what exactly is the proposal here in Spokane? Well, here are the basics. 1, it would make enforcing laws against psilocybin mushrooms the lowest possible priority for city police. 2, it would ban any city resources from being used to punish people for those offenses. That means police would be directed basically not to punish using, having, growing, or transferring small amounts of the shrooms as long as the people involved are over 21. It would all still technically be illegal, but local cops and courts just wouldn't be allowed to use their time and money to enforce the laws against mushrooms. There would be an exception to that though. The third thing the proposal would do, make it a civil infraction, like a traffic ticket, to use shrooms in public. Of course, all this would only apply within city limits. So how likely is all of that to actually happen? Well, there are still a number of steps supporters need to take. They've already taken the first step and submitted the proposal to the city. Now a city official will decide whether the language meets certain legal requirements for the ballot. If he okays it, supporters will need to gather a few thousand signatures. If they succeed in doing that, the measure will then be put on the city ballot. Then it needs a majority of voters to approve it before it would become law. Of course, one other twist here, right now, all personal drug possession is decriminalized in the state of Washington. That's because the state Supreme Court recently struck down the law that made possession a felony here, and that law hasn't been replaced yet. That, naturally, though, may change. Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
In other news now, a jury found 19-year-old Tyler Rambo guilty on 3 counts of aggravated assault of a peace officer, but it found him not guilty of second-degree attempted murder and aggravated assault. The charges stem from the 2019 Coeur d'Alene 4th of July shooting case. The verdict came after 2 days of jury deliberations, and Rambo pleaded not guilty to 2 felony charges. Police say Rambo waved a gun and fired a round before pointing a gun toward police. This led officers to shoot him 14 times. He lost both of his legs as a result of the shooting. He has since filed a $9 million lawsuit against the Coeur d'Alene Police Department, the city of Coeur d'Alene, and multiple police officers. The lawsuit alleges this agencies did not adequately train, supervise, and educate and direct the police officers whose actions led to Rambo's injuries. Rambo will return to court on May 28th for his sentencing. Rambo's mother telling us she is relieved her son was not found guilty of attempted murder, but she is in disbelief the jury found him guilty of assaulting a peace officer. Her statement reads in part, quote, "It was proven and stated by the police Tyler had his hands up when police tased him. His body reacted to being tased. His gun goes off and they open fire. Involuntarily discharging a firearm when complying makes him guilty," end quotes. Her full statement can be found on our website, krem.com. Let's check in now with a look at weather. It was a perfect spring day out there earlier. Actually, all week it's been wonderful. So Thomas Patrick joining us now. So Thomas, it's going to continue right into the weekend. Tell me, good news?
Yeah, a little bit better day by day this week. And yeah, we keep that trend for the weekend. If you love the sunshine today, more on tap for tomorrow. Very quiet weather pattern across the Pacific Northwest for tonight. So if you're up for more sunshine, you're going to get a lot of it for Saturday. Maybe not so much on Sunday, but temperatures will continue to rise both days. So sunshine from start to finish for tomorrow, highs in the mid 50s. And for the weekend as a whole, we'll be pushing 60 degrees for this upcoming Sunday. But it's not going to feel too different than what we had a week ago today. The last time it was 60 degrees, those clouds start to move in late. I'll show you if there's any good chances for rainfall heading into next week and how long we'll keep the overall mild March weather pattern going as well. All those details in just a few minutes.